This is my biggest Amazon book haul ever because there are over 40 books that I'm showing you guys that I picked up this month. Some of them you've probably seen in vlogs if you've kept up with the vlogs, but if you're new here, then this is kind of like a good little wrap up of books that I've purchased over the month. But also, I just got in a huge order of new books, so if you've watched the vlogs, you're also gonna wanna watch this video so you can see, I think there's like a good 10 or 20 books that you guys literally haven't seen yet. So let's get into the video, and I hope you guys find some good recs. I'm gonna start with the 3 books that I purchased but also read because I just feel like that's the easiest. Most of these books are romance and a couple thrillers. You guys know that's my vibe. But the first book that I read is There Goes the Neighborhood, which is actually a YA book, but I feel like I wish that I knew the genre was not just YA, but it was kind of more of a like mystery-ish type book, and it just came out on March 7th, so you guys can pick this up. But it was a super fun read. It made me think of like Scooby-Doo vibes and just like solving a mystery with your friends. The next book that I got is The Fine Print, which I got this book because I've seen it all over TikTok and everyone's been talking about how good it is. So I had to pick it up, and guys, it is as good as people are saying that it is. I'm almost finished with it and I have absolutely devoured this book. If you guys want to see my review of this book, it'll probably be up today because I'm gonna probably finish it today. So whenever you guys see this video, the review on my Goodreads will be up. But I bought this because literally everyone had been talking about it, and this rec is actually as good as people say it is. And then the last book that I got is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. This was actually my first Colleen Hoover book in 2013. I fell in love with her writing then, and I wanted to see if the books would be as good as I remember, and it definitely was. If you want to see my review for this book, check out my Goodreads, I'll link it below. This next stack of books is pretty much books that I bought that are in a series, and also books that I bought because I want to read them again and see if they still have the magic from whenever I read them as a kid. So I'll start with the ones that I picked up in a series, and the first one is Finding Cinderella. I got this book because you guys, I literally told you guys I just read Hopeless, and that was one of my favorite reads of Colleen Hoover's writing. It actually has a twist at the end that I literally did not even expect. So I wanted to buy all the books, and one of you guys actually told me that I was missing Finding Cinderella when I showed you guys like all the books that I had. So I picked that up, and then I also picked up, let's see if I can hold these, The Final Offer, and I also picked up Terms and Conditions. So I actually bought The Final Offer first, and I bought this because I thought that this was the first in the series, not realizing that it's literally the 3rd book. So I have all 3 books, and I'm definitely gonna be breezing through these so fast. I feel like everyone's talked about this series, but pretty much this is about billionaires, and every book is about one of the brothers, and it's actually a really unique concept because all of the brothers are trying to like fulfill the wishes of their grandfather that passed away so that they can get like a portion of his will. But the wishes that he has are literally like, you need to get married and have kids, like you need to be creative again, or like more kind, and things that like you wouldn't really think would be on someone's will. And so it was really cool reading the first one. I'm definitely gonna read these super fast. And then the other 3 books that I got, these are 3 books that I picked up because I read them as a kid and loved them. I got Sarah Dessen's Just Listen. I loved reading Sarah Dessen's books. This is kind of like Colleen Hoover-esque writing, at least for whenever I was younger, I feel like it was. Everyone was obsessed with Sarah Dessen, and I want to see if this book is as good as I remember. Then I also picked up Looking for Alaska, which is a book by John Green, who wrote The Fault in Our Stars, which turned into a movie. This was also an incredible book. It was a winner of tons of awards, a USA Today bestseller, a New York Times bestseller, and I remember just loving this book so much, and it's like less than 300 pages, so I feel like I'll finish it fast. And then I also picked up I Am the Messenger, and this is pretty much about a boy who, I think he comes in on a bank robbery or something, and he just like happens to be there, and then after that he gets all these messages from someone who I think is kind of like blackmailing him into doing like certain things around town. And I just remember loving this book. So it's by the same author of The Book Thief, so I picked all those 3 books up to see if the nostalgia and the memories of those books still stands the test of time. These books I bought because they were just released, and they're books that I thought would be really good to read. If you guys want to hear more in detail about about each book. Check out my most anticipated releases that are coming out by Black authors. A lot of these, actually I think all of these books are in that video except for one. The first book that I want to show you guys is The Neighbor Favor, and I am so excited about this book. I think that this is going to actually be my next read. This is about a shy bookworm who enlists her charming neighbor to help her score a date, not knowing he's the obscure author she's been corresponding with in this sparkling and heart-fluttering romance by Christina Forrest. I've never read anything by Christina Forrest, but I thought it would be a good one. Then I also picked up The Hookup Plan, and I think I showed you guys this in my last vlog that I picked this up. I love a good story where like people just start like not really having an interest in being like a serious relationship, and then they like kind of fall for each other, and that's what this story is about. And then the next book that I picked up is Reggie and Delilah's Year of Falling. The cover of this is so stinking cute. It is a YA book, and I just feel like this is gonna be one that I really, really love. And I'm pretty sure it just came out. And then another book that I picked up is The Wrong Kind of Weird. This was a book that is about a guy who I think he's like kind of like quirky, a little nerdy, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he's a member of Geeks and Nerds United, and he's been secretly hooking up with the student council president, cheerleader, theater enthusiast, and all-around queen, Carla Ortega, since the summer. The one problem is that what was meant to be a summer fling between coffee shop co-workers has now evolved into a senior year entanglement where Carla isn't intending on blending their friend groups anytime soon or at all. Then he meets Mackenzie Briggs, who isn't afraid to be herself, and pretty much he finds himself bonding with Mackenzie, and I think he's gonna like start liking Mackenzie, and she's gonna hopefully help him to come out of his shell and be more of himself. So I'm so excited to read this one. It just came out again. And then Last Chance Dance is another one I cannot wait to read. This is one of the books I hadn't shown you guys, and I guess there's already books like that I've showed you that I haven't showed you in other vlogs or anything, but this is one specifically that I was really excited to show you because it is a really cool concept. This girl Layla, she has a crush on Dev, her boyfriend of 4 years, and he breaks up with her right before graduation, just when she thinks she wasted her entire high school experience on a dead-end relationship. Her best friend Bree reminds her that the last chance dance is right around the corner. A high school tradition, the last chance dance gives all the students one last opportunity to find love before they graduate. All Layla has to do is submit 3 unrequited? I literally feel like I know that word, but it's like looks weirder than it sounds, I guess. Not unregretted crushes to the dance committee, and if any of her crushes list her too, they'll get matched. So apparently there's 3 different guys she's interested in, and I think she gets matched with all of them, so then she has to decide which guy she wants to go with. I just thought it was a cool concept. It says 3 weeks, 4 dates, 1 last chance at love. So all of these books just came out. I'll link the video if you guys want to see more of my most anticipated like reads, if you are looking for like new books that are just coming out. These next books are from genres that I don't read very often, but I am trying to branch out a bit. But I just love romances so freaking much. I never get tired of them. But the first book is Educated. It's a memoir, and I'm really excited to read this because it's about someone who, I think her family doesn't really like trust the government or trust like a hospital system or anything. So they like go up to the mountains and they like stay away from everything, and then she ends up getting older and like literally doesn't know how to like read or write or anything, and I think she like learns how to do it on her own, and I'm pretty sure she ends up like going to Cambridge, getting her PhD. So it talks about just like what her life was like and what she had to go through to get to where she is today. I just thought it was a really unique story, and so many of you guys on Instagram, so many of you guys said that I needed to read it. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you literally have to, because I do so many like polls over there to figure out if I should buy books or not. I also do tons of like little chats with you guys where I'll see like what your favorite recs are in my posts or in stories, and I just feel like it's a really cool book community, but also just like a community of really cool people who like to hang out and are really like kind and thoughtful and loving. The next books are pretty much thrillers and like self-help-ish. This book is called Never Lie by Frida McFadden, and I've heard incredible things about it. I have a hard time reading thrillers that are, I don't know, too heavy or have too much gore or anything, but this one didn't seem like it would be like that. So I'm excited to read it, and it looks like a really easy read. And then the next book that I got is the Enneagram Empowerment, and I don't really read a ton of books that are about like personality tests or anything, but Enneagrams really interest me, and so do love languages. And I love any personality test that is kind of fluid, where you can take the test and then a year later take it again and like have you connect with something else. So you're not gonna be like, I don't know, pigeonholed into like being one number or being one type of love language. And I just think it's really interesting. I also got Milk and Honey, and this is a book of poems, and it just looked really cool. Like the poems are really, really easy to read. Like this one literally says, if the hurt comes, so will the happiness. Be patient. It's just a very like, I don't know, the poems aren't super long. This one says, the thing worth holding on to would not have let go. And I don't know, I just really resonated with a lot of these. And then the last book that I got is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I've never read any of Riley Sager's thrillers, but this one looked like a really good one. It's about a murder that happens like across the lake, go figure. And pretty much the book leads you to believe that it is the husband, and I guess there's like a huge plot twist. So it literally says that in here, that the person who's watching across the lake thinks it's the husband, but then you end up finding out there's more to the story. So these are all really good books, kind of out of my genre, but I'm excited to read them. All of these books are in a series, but I don't own all of the books in the series, so I want to show you guys these separately from the like first little stack that I had of like the series that I had, like the Final Offer and Terms and Conditions and those kinds of books. So the first book that I have that is kind of like in a series is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Now these books by Talia Hibbert are all standalone books, but I've heard that this one is incredible, like so good. I actually can't remember if I picked up this in one of my last hauls. I did a huge haul with tons of books from Amazon, and it literally was like a wild amount, so I will link that video below. But I can't remember if I picked this up then or if I picked it up within the last month, so I will link that video if you guys want to watch all of those recs. I've been reading roughly like a book every like 2 days, so I've been like running through books so fast, which is really fun. The next book that I have is Long Shot, and I actually own Hook Shot, but I don't own any of the other books. So I wanted to read this because this is the first book, and you guys know that Kennedy Ryan's book, Before I Let Go, is one of my absolute favorite books that I've read this year. 5 out of 5 stars, so good. And so I want to read more of her books that I never have. And this book is in her series of it's like a basketball, like a hoops, I think it's called the Hoops series, but they're all standalone, but they all like connect in some way. So I wanted to get the first one. Also got Addicted to You. I've never read this series, but everyone talks about it. Like, and I just didn't really know how I would feel, because one person's addicted to drinking and the other person's addicted to sex, and I think that they work through their addictions together. And I just wasn't really sure if I would like that, because you guys know I don't mind spice in books, but when it's like too much and it like overtakes the actual storyline, it literally drives me wild. So I'm hoping that this isn't gonna be like that. Like, I don't mind a couple scenes, you know, but if it's literally like back to back to back, like just it's the worst. And the last book that I have is Magnolia Parks. People have been referencing this as pretty much like a Gossip Girl-esque type book, and I literally loved Gossip Girl. I mean, look at the back, it's giving Gossip Girl. So I got the first one, and I didn't want to get any of the other ones until I read the first one. That's what I usually do for books that are in a series, but I ended up getting the Dreamland Billionaire series because I bought the third book. So I went back and bought the second and the first. But I'm so excited to read these, and I love getting into a good series, as long as it's a good one. Kind of got all of these books in a really weird way, and so I wanted to put them all together. If you guys watch the vlogs, you guys know that I do like lots of book hauls. I shop a lot for books. It's just very normal for me to have like some kind of like reading, like, I don't know, book chat or something in a vlog. And I feel like a lot of you guys, if you only watch these types of videos where I'm like sitting down, you're missing out on like some of my favorite like chats about books. So definitely make sure you watch the vlogs. But I ended up getting this book, We Were Liars, and it's a YA book along with Where the Crawdads Sing. And I got both of these books whenever I went, where did I go to? I went to an art gallery, and while I was at the art gallery, they had a little like blind date with a book little like area, and so I ended up picking up both of these. Didn't know that these are the books I was picking up because they were obviously covered up, but I really liked that. I feel like I judge a book by its cover sometimes, and I definitely shouldn't. So I'm excited to read these. I've heard that this one isn't that good, so let me know if you've read it and if you actually think that it's good, because I've heard from some people it isn't. And then I haven't read this book, but I have watched the movie and it was great. And then the next book that I got is whenever I went on a little bookstore date with Brady, I picked up this book, You Deserve Each Other. We went for Valentine's Day. It was so fun. Just like, I don't know, running around in the store and finding lots of different books together. And one book that we kept running around looking for was this book called Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And what's funny is we made it like a little game. We said whoever can find this book first, like wins. Like we didn't have like any thing that you would win. We just thought it would be fun, and we literally looked for like an hour. It was literally like took so long, and I looked online to make sure it was there. It was, but I guess someone had picked this up in store and like moved the book, and it was the last copy, so we didn't end up finding it in store. But that always makes me think of that bookstore date with Brady, because we were just running around looking for this book. And again, if you guys want to see like lots of those little things, make sure you're following me on Instagram, make sure you're following me on TikTok, and make sure you are also all watching the vlogs, because that's where I share those like fun little dates. I do a lot of like bookstore dates with friends too. And this was actually a book that I got on a recent bookstore date with a friend. We went to, or actually it wasn't a bookstore date, it was a library date. And we went to the library and we saw a little section that had like books you can buy, and they were really, really affordable. So I told her to pick a book that would remind her of me, and then I said I would pick up a book that reminded me of her. And honestly, she did a better job than me, because the book that I picked was a book that I thought she would like to read. Didn't necessarily remind me of her, but it felt like a book that I thought she would really, really enjoy. I hadn't read it, but I've heard good things about it, and it was like an Oprah, like Winfrey book. She literally picked like the perfect type of book, because it says Kitchens of the Great Midwest, and it talks about the Midwest. It's supposed to be a really good book. It was from like there's tons of accolades on the back from best-selling authors who said it was a great book. So yeah, anyway, she crushed it whenever we got those books together. But yeah, these all give me lots of good, happy feels when I think about these books. This stack of books is all really popular books that I've heard people talk like so much about. And the first one is A Little Life. I've heard literally so many people talk about this book. I've heard that some people feel like it is like trauma porn and there's like too much graphic like sadness in this book, but I've also heard from other people that it is like the most life-changing book they've ever read. So there's definitely mixed reviews, and it's like 600 something pages. No, it's actually more than that. It's like 800 something pages. So it's definitely like 2 books in one almost, but I have to read it because I feel like if anyone says that a book is like absolutely life-changing for them, and multiple people have said that, it just piques my interest and I have to read it no matter like the reviews. The next book that I got is The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory, and I actually love Jasmine Guillory's writing, and my favorite books that I've read of hers, I feel like, are the ones that aren't necessarily as popular, and this is one of her most popular books. So I was like, how have I not read this one yet? So I picked this one up. I also picked up Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I am a literal stan of her writing, and I feel like anything that she writes, I eat it up so fast. It's just, she always has like a hook at the end, and the writing's really easy to read. There's short chapters, and it's just really fun. So I also picked up Regretting You by Colleen Hoover, because I've heard that this is one of Colleen Hoover's books that people don't talk about enough, that it is like just really, really great, but it kind of gets like, I don't know, swept under the rug in comparison to her other books. So I picked up that one, and then I picked up Set on You by Amy Leah. This book I have heard about so much, and it's about an influencer who's like a gym influencer, and I love reading about books about people who are in like the same type of career that I'm in, because I just think it's like really interesting. And then the last book that I got is this book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Carrie Soto Is Back. I feel like when I read Daisy Jones and the Six, I fell absolutely in love with Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing again. So I wanted to kind of get back into her world, so I picked this one up. These are the last like 10 books, so I am gonna go through them, and I think 2 of them I've actually already showed you. I'm not for sure though, so I feel like I show you guys in vlogs lots of books, but I try to do like wrap-ups here so you can like kind of see all of them at one time if you've missed any of the vlogs or missed me sharing on stories or anything. But the first book is In Every Mirror She's Black. I think I showed you guys this, I don't know if I showed you guys this in a vlog or what, but I went on a little bookstore date with Taylor, and I think that's when I picked up this book, I think. Or maybe, is that when I picked it up? Or maybe I picked up Black Girls Must Die Exhausted. I think that's actually what it is. I think I picked this book up recently, and I already had this one, but they look, I don't know, the covers kind of have like a similar vibe. You guys seeing the vibe? I feel like it's very similar. Both of these books are really good, or at least from what I've heard. And I really wanted to read them, so I picked up both of these books. And I love reading books by Black authors. If you guys have been following for a while, you guys know that pretty much every other book that I read is by a Black author or about a Black character, because I feel like so often people don't diversify their reads, so we end up talking about the same authors and the same books over and over again, and we don't hear about new emerging authors or about authors who've been around for a while, but they just have like a diverse writing style or talk about diverse characters. So I have really made that my mission this year to make sure that I read lots of different types of books. The next book that I got is Say You Swear, which this is like a football romance, and I love books that are set in like college or like high school that are like surrounding sports, because Brady, he used to play football. I literally would go to his games and hold up like a little sign and be like, Brady's my hero. Like, I mean, it's kind of cringy when I think about it, but it's also really cute that like 19-year-old me was like, I'm making a sign for my boyfriend, and like, I don't know, I just love it. Also got this book when I was in Chicago called The Other Black Girl. Again, I really want to, I don't know, just diversify my reads, and I love reading books by Black authors whenever I feel like, I don't know, I just am not necessarily resonating with book, because I always connect with those characters most. I also picked up this book called Never Never by Colleen Hoover, and she wrote this book a while back, and I guess she released it again with a new cover, and she wrote it with Terry Fisher as well. I think this is supposed to be kind of like a thriller type vibe. I got the book called Honey Girl because I not only want to diversify my reads, but I also want to read about lots of different types of relationships and lots of different types of love. And I think that this is a book that is about a girl who, I think it says that she like falls in love with a woman named Yuki, and I think she ends up getting married in Vegas to her, but she like typically is not someone who just like does things at random. She like always is kind of like by the book, like, you know, she is not the type to just like randomly get married in Vegas, but then she ends up like falling in love with her after the fact. So I thought that was really cool. I've also heard about this book, and that if you like the book Daisy Jones and the Six, that you should read this book. So that's why I picked it up, and I think it's about Black people in, I don't know when it's set, but it's like during a different, like maybe Daisy Jones and the Six like era in Detroit, and how like Black punk artists came up, and like how they were able to just like start their career and stuff in the music industry, and it's obviously fiction, so really excited to read that one. Then I also got The No-Show. This one is about 3 women who got stood up on Valentine's Day, and they were supposed to go on a date with the guy, and it turns out that he was going on a date with all 3 of them, which I'm like, what the heck? And apparently there's like a twist at the end. And then another book that I got is The Heart Principle, and this is a book that is by the same author who wrote The Kiss Quotient, which I thought was a really cute book. So I wanted to pick up another one of hers to see if I liked it. And that is all 42 books that I picked up. I will say I picked up a lot of the books from Amazon, but I did pick up some books from bookshop.com, which personally I think is better to like, a better place to buy your books, because you can actually pick a bookstore that you want to support, and like a percentage of your purchase goes to that bookstore. So I always send it to Our Town Books, which is a bookstore near me. And then I also picked up some books in independent bookstores. If you guys want to see those vlogs, I'll link those below. And I picked up some books from Barnes & Noble and out of town as well at more independent bookstores. So make sure you're watching the vlogs to see like where I'm shopping and the books I'm chatting about, make sure you're following me on Instagram and not YouTube, on Instagram and TikTok if you guys want to see, I don't know, cute little fun friendship dates that I go on with friends that I don't necessarily share in the vlogs or don't share in obviously these sit downs. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.